founded on the principle that all men are created equal, and that the rights of every man are diminished, and the rights of one man are threatened.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has...
Are we live? There we are. All right. What's going on, everyone? Here we are at the Conspiracy Club 101, live in Filthy's, right here in Vero Beach, Florida. Got my brother Rich in the house. Rich, how you doing? Can you hear me?
No.
You can't hear me?
No. I hear you mumble there.
He can't hear me. Can you hear me now?
No.
It might be his audio.
You can't hear it? You can't hear me at all?
I don't know.
Joanne, you can hear me, right? Yeah.
It's a little loud.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Phone's not working.
Who's that, number 3?
You hear it?
Yours?
Very loud.
Try it out.
Just go without the headphones.
What do you say?
There you go. You hear now?
Yeah, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
I don't know if that's too
Sorry about that, guys. Little minor delay here, so we should be back on. So appreciate you being here. I need my sheet over there. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. All right, got some people joining in. Oh, Tyler wants to talk about Flat Earth too. All right, so we got that. So we got everybody here. I'm John. I'm from a TGI Now podcast. Joanne's from Binford Chronicles. She's on her. She has her own show, Binford Chronicles, and then we got Mike from the To the Point podcast. He's here in the behind the helm, and then Rich. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, just on this side.
Just on one side.
Yeah, but it still works. So.
Okay, as long as it works, we'll be good. We're good. So I was trying to get the mic, the speaker going too, but I can't get that going for some reason. I don't know why it's not working. Anyway, so thanks for being here. We're sorry we missed you guys last month. It was Christmas time, but we got some new people in the house. We're going to have Courtney from Behind the Bar to come on to the show. We got George Cologne here as well. George is here in the house. We got Joe Zepp over there yapping away, so I don't know what he's going to be doing. But but Rich wanted to talk about the Space Shuttle Challenger.
Yeah, well, it's this is the upcoming 40th anniversary of the space shuttle disaster. That happened January 28th, 1986, and everyone who remembers it, it blew up. Especially people that lived here, they watched it, and it always seemed as is. I mean, I'm not going to say I know everything for sure, but around like 8 years ago, I started looking up things where these astronauts were still alive in different places, having their same name, most of them. Like
George
up in
Cologne here as well.
Like,
just here in the house. We got Joe's.
Okay, here are the
You're good.
yeah, and they it was it was strange that that Krista McCullough had her same name and she was teaching somewhere else. I mean, people say, well, that could be just someone who looks like him, same name, but if you believe that space is fake, then what happened was when everyone's in the shuttle and route to take off, they have an escape exit in case something goes wrong. Well, it could have had easily, if they are faking it, they could have just had them up there. They slide out, they shoot the thing off, and then it blew up. It did blow up, of course, and then they didn't know that was going to happen. And it was due to, the coal that made the O-rings not work right and, exploded. So now they had a problem on their hands. Like, well, shit, but now we can't even fake it because they really pushed that thing to get up there because they had a lot of delays. And they had a teacher there, and it was a big deal, and she was going to teach from space. Take you somewhere, and you're going to have to live under new identities because you're supposed to be dead. And of course, we're faking this. They were probably going to shoot it up there, and then the astronauts were somewhere else, and they were going to do their, space talk and their, in the capsule, and I'm teaching in space, and they'll float around, and people would have bought it, which they usually do. And
so what you're saying is that they really didn't die.
Yes, I mean
the Space Shuttle Challenger.
There.
The people that were on the Challenger, they didn't die.
Yes, and there was a woman on that shuttle named Judith Resnick, an astronaut, and she's going by the same name too. And there's somebody even challenged her, and she just didn't even answer it, and just left not the interview, but someone just tried to call her out on it. And they had the other ones, and every astronaut that was there. I think just about every one.
So Joanne, have you heard of this before? Pull it up. Pull your mic up a little bit.
Yeah, I can't hear her.
Yeah. There you go.
I haven't heard of it at all. But it sounds crazy. So you're saying there's a woman that looks just like her.
Well, it may be her.
But it may be her.
Yes. I don't have definitive proof. I mean, I'm not going to say, if I knew, I'd, all over. Look at this, look at that. You'd have to do your own research on it. Like, I didn't want to believe it either because, you believe that's what, they really died. And, they actually said they found the capsule later, of course, and they were all in the capsule. And, they said they didn't die the most peaceful death, I guess, when they hit impact. But, like, that still could be, just a narrative to throw you off. Like, if they are faking space, this easily could have happened. You got to believe if they're faking it most of the time, that they don't really even go up there a lot. They just shoot the shuttle up there, and then they take over from there. And wherever they're shooting the spacewalking and everything they're supposed to be doing up there and low gravity, that could be your answer there. That they were put up on the shuttle and they got out of that trap door. That's really meant for they say it's definitely there. It's just they say it's there for any kind of emergency. So, but all these people that were on there, they were up in different places. I mean, not showing up, but like teaching in Canada, doing this over here, doing that. And,
Well, I don't think that we ever really landed on the moon. I think that was definitely done in a studio.
Yes.
But, there were a lot of people that went to watch the space shuttle, take off. Like
but
they were
weren't
lined
in
up
it,
at
though.
the beach.
Well, but they're not in it.
So you think that when they found the capsule, they were alive?
No. They never even went up.
Oh, you don't think they were in there at all?
They marched them up there like, hey, we're going into the shuttle, and there's an escape hatch. And then they just slid down them, or they never even got in the capsule. And then the shuttle was done on remote, and then but it blew up. It was supposed to do what it was supposed to normally do, but it really did explode. Not saying that thing was even like faked too, or of course it blew up.
So what would they be gaining by doing that?
Well, gaining that they're alive, or
like what's the reason to do something
well,
that false?
If you believe the moon is fake, then that means they also fake in space too. So there's your answer right there. You just said I don't think they really landed on the moon. Well, that's probably possibly very true, and that means they're also not going into space.
Well, because they haven't gone back to the moon.
I know.
It's like we've got so much advanced technology compared to what they had back then, and you're telling me they can't figure it out.
I agree.
We've had some of the greatest brains work on Doge.
I know.
And Elon Musk, and we've got AI that's super intelligent and it's teaching itself every day. You're telling me that AI couldn't even figure out how to get our asses on the moon?
I agree, and that's the thing. But see, that also, we taxpayers are putting a lot of money into NASA, so they got to come up with stuff like we're going to space, and we got to show that we're doing something. So they launch shuttles up there, but doesn't mean when the shuttle gets up there, they might be one pilot or two that circle around the orbit. and it's not really hot that high up there. But then they go to where anywhere that studio they have where they show the astronauts floating and, God is saying, oh, we did this.
And don't forget they when they shoot the shuttles off, where they always went out in the ocean and went down. They never really went up. They always come down. They don't go into space.
Well, because the world is round, so you're supposed to be seeing it kind of go off and disappear.
Exactly. So and then we have some people here want to talk about flat Earth. So then you have to talk about, well, if it's round, then maybe that's where it went under. But if it's flat, then it go up. Is it going to hit a firmament in the sky? What's going to happen if it goes
up so far?
It can only go up so high.
And then they have to fake the space because this is the lie they're going on. So remember, I told you they get out before that shuttle goes off. They already out of the escape hatch, and then they're going to go do the space walking or whatever, and the floating somewhere else. But you think, okay, but the people are watching, like they shot off into space, and now they're doing this and that. But that day that shuttle blew up, they had a problem. We can't say they lived, and now we got live astronauts that are supposed to be dead, and we can't tell people, well, we fake all this shit. So they're okay, but now we have to tell you the truth. They're not going to tell you that if that's the case. So they next thing you know, they got to be like, look, we got to change your name.
See, when you look it up, Joanne, what happens is that when they go into the shuttle, there's a chute that shoots them out of the shuttle before it goes up into the air. So then they're up in there, and then eventually it blew up, and they were like, oh, shit, they're all dead. So what are we supposed to do?
Well,
they're actually really alive, but they're supposed to be dead, but they were in that chute where they went in. There's video of it showing that you can slide out of the shuttle or slide out of a rocket ship and not be in it. Look like you're on it, but then get out. There's an escape hatch.
And they've admitted, too, it's supposed to be an escape hatch in case something's burning in the shuttle, you need to get out. But it really could be used, what my brother just said, I think. Could slide right out of there because they're about to fake space. And they've probably done it many times, and it was all successful. But when that shuttle blew up, they had their first problem, a serious problem. So you got 7 astronauts. The shuttle's destroyed. People all watched it. They're all sad. There's no way they could say they made it. It'd be really hard. So now you got to, all right, it's like witness protection. You're going to be sent here. You're going to be sent there.
Well, there is a possibility that the technology was so advanced then that they could send the shuttle up without any people in it.
Oh, yeah.
And they were just,
remote control. That's what they said. That shuttle was
doing the act of, hey, people are there. We don't want people to know we have this advanced technology yet. The world's not ready for it yet.
Exactly.
No, you got a good point. And that's the thing. Either it was done by remote for the piloting once it detached from the fuel tanks, or there was 1 or 2 pilots in there. And there was a time I thought at least 2 pilots died on that because they had to maybe man it, but the other ones lived. But they count for like 6 of these astronauts that are out there with the same name. So maybe
I've seen the pictures.
One's is changed. Then the Asian guy did have a twin brother. People say, oh, they confused him with the twin brother he had.
Yeah.
But somebody, I think
it's out there if you look it up.
You got to just do your own research.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you can't really trust our government anymore anyway.
Yes.
No,
now,
true.
as time goes on, now you're like, then you could believe it that they died on that thing. Now that today, 40 years later, that's why I'm bringing it up, that maybe they could have done this, and it was just an act. I mean, the shuttle really exploded.
It was theatrics, them getting into the
shuttle. Exactly.
Yeah, they always do that theatrics. Yeah, getting up there, and they've probably done it a lot of times. Who knows, even with the moon and so on. Then that was the capsules, and next thing you know, you have the shuttle. So, but when they blew up, they got a problem. They didn't expect that, and they really did push this launch, and it wasn't a good time. It was very cold in Florida that day, and the O-rings failed. And, they shouldn't have. They knew better, but there's a lot of money involved. We got to get these people up. We got a teacher on there. She's going to teach in space.
She's going to teach in space.
All this and that. We're delayed by a month because they had massive delays.
What was she going to teach in space?
She would probably see her kids and all the students.
They would see her up there flipping upside down.
Yes, and then she was going to say this is like the constellation of so and so, and they had to get it up soon because she couldn't teach on a Saturday because nobody's going to see it.
Yeah.
Was she a science teacher?
She was just a regular teacher. That back then there was a big application to send one teacher into space.
Of course.
And there's a lot of people that applied for it, and she was chosen. Believe it or not, I don't think you knew this, but they were actually going to put Big Bird on the flight.
They were going to put Big Bird on the flight?
Yeah, they were going to put Big Bird. I swear to God.
Well, just bring Sesame Street into the mix.
Yes, I mean, that's another thing.
At least Snuffleupagus.
Yeah, he'd be complaining, oh, this is fake, Bird. Oh, I knew it. I don't want to get on this shuttle. That's going to blow up. I know it.
See, he would have been the one to get off.
I would have. I'm not going. I can't fit in there.
We're never going to make it.
And So, but that's why they couldn't. They had to get her up. Look, she's got to do this by Friday.
That's
And the thing is, like,
Oh
they were
my
going to do
God.
the teaching somewhere else, not in space.
Right.
But it wouldn't look good if it was on a Saturday.
Yeah.
They still had plans. There's still a schedule to follow.
Right.
NASA, there is money
Oh my
that's put into
God.
there, but they don't use it for exactly what we always thought.
You know, it'd
they'd
be
use it
interesting if we had Elon Musk, Doge,
Right.
NASA.
Looking into that.
But
Yeah.
they could. He may know this.
He might know that.
There's some
Exactly.
people that
That's
really
true.
know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, NASA now is kind of almost obsolete with Elon Musk. There's no more shuttles.
Yeah.
They're doing things they should have did that where it could re-land. You know, they could have done that then. You know, see how it goes up now, and then the rocket booster actually comes back to Canaveral and lands.
Yeah.
But
It
wherever
lands itself
Yes.
now. It's like fabulous.
it's amazing.
It's like, holy
Yes,
cow.
it's a nice thing to watch
Remote
too.
control.
Yes, and they could have remoted it then too. Like, you know, they had that ability, but it was almost like now they're flying it. We got pilots,
How you doing?
and you know, I mean, look, I don't know everything that's, you know, truth about it, but it's like, but once you know those teachers, those pilots are out there, and they've been, you know, almost in front of our faces too,
Yeah.
almost like they, you know, because no one would believe they're not dead.
Yeah.
You can keep your same name, and like, you know, because we're the dumb society that really thought they were dead.
I thought they found parts in the ocean.
Well, that's what they did find part. You know, remember, the shuttle and the thing did explode, but nobody was on it. But they did find all that because it really did explode. It really was an accident. They didn't expect it, and then they had to, you know, do damage control. Now, what do we you know, they're alive because we have them stored to do the fake space
So you
stuff.
think maybe they needed to like have people die in it so they could change the narrative away from their screw up because they just wasted so much money.
Yes, they could have.
It could be. It
They're
could
very
be.
good, yeah,
No,
yeah.
it could be.
Because
Yeah.
the truth was let out. Well, they really weren't on it.
Yeah, they were never on it. That's the real bottom line: is they were never on the space shuttle in the first place. So they never made it up. They never went up into space.
If that's what happened, you
Yeah,
know. And
yeah.
yes, and then that would, and like I said, then the government has to cover this up.
Yeah,
You know, they're already stored away anyway because they were going to go somewhere else and fake the space and
Yeah.
fake inside, the shuttle itself.
Well, can you imagine being that person? You're like the teacher, for example, and they tell you, okay, we're not going to let you get on. Everything's going to be honky-dory. We'll just do a little theatrics when you come back. And all of a sudden it blows up and it's like, I'm sorry, you're never going to see your husband again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly,
I mean,
yeah.
you may, but he has to do it quietly. But your life that you lived before is gone.
it's gone. Yeah,
You know, it's
It's
gone.
done. Yeah.
And the pilots, they could understand that more and deal with it because they're government people, and it might be not as hard for them. But a girl like her, it might have been hard.
Yeah.
But I'm sure she got to see her kids and her husband secretly from time to time. You know,
Interesting.
I would have to say they gave her that, at least
That's
that.
very interesting dynamics there.
It's like-
it is.
Yeah.
Witness protection, you know, in the
Yeah.
long run.
Same
you know.
thing. Yeah,
You know,
it's the same.
you'd have to go to this and find this woman. Of course, then you press her, and then next thing you know, her life's ruined. And it's just, you know, I mean, it's almost like just let it be, I guess. You know, I mean, you have to do your own research, and you really think that happened.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, I didn't know, you know, I didn't think of this until it came up. And then, you know, you can't ignore it after time. You know, they
Yeah.
did find all the pieces and put it back together. They really did explode. But they also added that they didn't die on it, like, right away when it blew up. They were unconscious, and then the cockpit was still kind of intact, and it hit the ground, and they died from that point, from the impact. But they never showed you pictures of the bodies and stuff like that. You know,
So, Rich, what piqued your interest in that?
well, I'm a conspiracy guy, I guess you can call that, but I try to make sure it is what it is, and sometimes it is a conspiracy. Sometimes I'm not sure. There's a lot of things sometimes, and there's times I think it was a conspiracy. I think this really did happen, and people just kind of went the other way. I study these things as best as I can.
He does.
You know, some things I'm emphatic on, like, you know, the Kennedy assassination. You know, he was definitely not killed by a gunman, but
Yeah.
you know, I still had to look and be sure, or 9/11, or, you know, I mean, there's things that are still, you know, like you know emphatically or you don't know. Like the moon landing, I'm pretty sure we didn't. But, you know, there's times it's like, well, did they really go? We show you fake footage.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't want you to know it was really up there. Some say the Nazis went there first.
Yeah.
I don't know that for sure. Like, there's times my mind gets a little warped to the point it's like, I gotta,
Can't do it
then you
anymore.
get, because sometimes someone's throwing you a fake conspiracy to throw you off something else.
Right.
And then you go into it and you're like, well, did that really think that, you know, then it takes a turn for a twist that you may not, you know.
Now you're doing research on another one.
Yes, and then next thing you know, you're doing all this research, but then you have
All
a
this
life
homework.
Yes, then you have a life to live, and then you can't. I got to go to work. I got to do this. So then next thing you know, you're like, you know, I got to focus on something else in my
That's
life
right.
because, you know, that's life, and they want you to do that. not always be thinking about any conspiracies, about aliens, about
Well, because
Area
when you think
47.
about conspiracies, it leads you to question,
Exactly.
Yes.
to ask questions,
They don't want you
and
to
to
ask
research and
questions.
probe and poke, and you even dabble in what's ridiculous. Say it sounds ridiculous, but is it really ridiculous?
Yeah, sometimes the strange is almost the truth. The truth is stranger than fiction. That's why they say it. There's things you would be really surprised that really happened that seem more like fiction, and something fiction doesn't even seem as crazy as what really did happen. I mean,
That's right.
you can go to an area like any conspiracy.
Well, let's go into the next topic, and then we put on here, and then we'll go on to flat Earth with Joe Zepp. But like the Montauk Project, right?
Yes.
Because that's based on the Stranger Things stuff that people are watching.
Yes,
so what's the deal with that? Why does that correlate the Montauk Project with Stranger Things documentary?
Well, they said that it was a place.
Show.
It was built in the 40s, 50s, and it was a place where they did mind control. Some say they even faked the moon landing there. I've been there. I went there one time in 2024, a year and a half ago, and it's a place called Camp Hero. And the building is, it has that aged look, but it has this weird antenna on it to this day. It's not used anymore, but it's still off limits. And it's called Camp Hero, and it had its own little, almost like fake neighborhood. The military was, of course, part of it, and they had like a church, but it wasn't really a church. It had a bowling alley, which they probably used. It's abandoned now, but you could see the remnants of a quick fake town they made. Now, I wish I could have went in there. It is still off limits. No government's on it anymore, but they have like a park ranger that you still can't. They don't want you in there.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
It
right.
is. I wanted to be in there. I was so close. It's just like because I've heard of this place.
Could be like a historical site where you can have people come and tour it. And
Well, they
look
would,
at
but
it.
they're
Why would they shut it off?
because they're hiding. They're hiding whatever they
It's
were
old,
doing there.
Yes, and it's old too. They've moved on from that. Like it was built in the 50s. It was used in the 50s and 60s and probably up to 70s. By the 80s, I think they kind of moved on to whatever else they found another place to do what they're doing. After a while, just like Area 51 has probably moved on to a different site. This has the look of something from the 50s. 50s, 60s, and then the antenna though is very strange looking. I have a picture of it, but I have a flip phone, so you'd have to really look at it. You have to zoom it in there.
Got a
Are
flip
you still
phone.
on a flip phone?
I have a flip phone.
damn.
Yes. I try to be old school.
He's trying not to be tracked and traced.
Yes,
He's very undercover.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I
trying to be
wouldn't
because
say that much.
they're looking for him because
Yeah.
he's got all this information.
don't talk about the Montauk Project.
He
Right.
talks on a SIM card.
Exactly.
I got a decent shot of it.
You can't track and trace him.
But that
You can't do it.
whatever they were doing there, it goes on to what like I said, mind control, fake moon landing,
Yeah.
other stuff. I couldn't even you'd have to look into that if you Google Montauk Project. They'll tell you what they say the conspiracy of it is,
Yeah.
but then they'll say something else. I guess what it was. It's a military base for
Yeah.
sure, and
Wow.
it's but that antenna was strange.
Huh.
It's it's still there. It's in good shape too, but the place is no longer, I think, active by any means.
Yeah.
But I was there, and I went to the neighborhood, and
I bet you there's all sorts of places like that our military
Yeah.
has control over, and
Oh, yeah.
people don't even know they exist.
I didn't know much of that either, and I'm sure there's other ones that are really secret.
Yeah, there's a place called Mount Weather that's apparently there's a whole separate government in a place called Mount Weather right outside of Virginia, right out of D.C. That's in the book Behold a Pale Horse by Bill Cooper. It's at Mount Weather. So they have a like a shadow, like a layered government. It's another government that's running things inside Mount Weather.
Yes,
Believe that or not? Yeah,
I believe it because we have polygamous groups in America, and they buy thousands of acres of land so that they can have their own
places.
their own compound.
Exactly.
Police can't even go in there because it's private.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of being the elite.
Yeah.
And there's this other place called Jekyll Island. That's where the Democrats hang out and do their stuff.
That's where the Federal Reserve was started, and they started it in Jekyll. That it was what was that book called? The Creature from Jekyll Island.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when the secret societies met and schemed and
there.
all that to meet and how to do the whole money system and the Federal Reserve and the fake money and everything like that. It was a secret meeting in Jekyll Island. Yeah, there's a whole book about it called the Creature from Jekyll Island. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe it's right there. I mean, the information, the stuff that we talk about on these type of shows is right there for people to see. I mean, you can look this stuff up, but it depends on what you decide to believe or not. You know, you can look at it. They'll say, "Oh, it's a conspiracy," and they'll try to debunk it. Even when you ask Grok questions, like if you ask Grok about the whole space shuttle thing, I mean, sure, it's going to be like, "Oh, well, there's a conspiracy that all these people are still alive," and it'll debunk it to a certain extent because it's made to do that. To make you not go down the rabbit hole anymore, to make you go, oh, well, Grok says it's a conspiracy, so it must not be true. But then when you push back on something like Grok and you say, well, not the Grok, there's pictures of the people that were on the space shuttle. They look exactly like the people that were there. So why is that even the case?
Just
and then,
age, that's all. That's,
So you can question AI too and push back on it and tell it that not to call it a conspiracy, that it actually could be a truth.
Well, you got that old saying, some people say there's always a doppelganger of you somewhere in the world.
Yeah,
right?
That's true, and that's why sometimes you don't know for sure unless you really investigate. There's people that do that, and they're like, well, I'm going to go find these people. Or I'm going to question astronaut like Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah, like you were saying earlier.
About the moon. There's a guys that done that, and the guy, got mad and punched him. How dare you? He punched this guy who questioned him, and he didn't even answer him, and he seemed very pissed. Any astronaut they interviewed from the past, in the 60s and early 70s, they get very angry. And they can't really answer anything. They just call you a loon and leave me alone. But the other place, like Jekyll Island, another secret place is Bohemian Grove. That's kind of like the Republican place where they meet up. It's in California, and it's a proven thing. I mean, Alex Jones has been there.
Oh, wow.
They know people. They meet up there. The elite meet there. That are usually Republican, and they're men, and women are not allowed. And they do their rituals, and they bow to this owl, and they do other things, whatever. They've been doing. I mean, Nixon and Reagan used to go there. That's a proven thing. There's no conspiracy of it. What they're talking about to the core, you don't know because not many can get in there. But of course, people have snuck in there, and there's underground tunnel, and they have little worship spots, and it's mostly for Republicans, and then Jekyll Island's kind of more Democrat, even though they're really the same, two heads of the same coin.
These days, there's not much difference between them.
They say there's a woman Republican place in Belize called like the Belizean Grove or something. I didn't really study more on that, but it's for the women. It's the Bohemians for men, but they do their rituals and they drink and stuff. They'll even admit to some of it, like they just party here and get away and drink, get drunk. But that's a proven thing for sure. It's Bohemian Grove, But of course, you got to be part of the society and be a Republican.
All right, let's move on. I'm going to pull Joe in. Switch you out here. We only got 3 seats tonight, so because we only have 3 cameras. So, but Joe, have him come over. Yeah, have Zeph come over. You take a break, Rich, and then we'll talk about. Joe wants to talk about a couple things here. Over here, Joe. Yeah. Take your stuff with you, Rich. This is his fucking luggage. We got George Cologne in the house.
Needs a man purse.
I know, right? You need a man purse. You got all this.
Am I switching out with George?
No. If you want to stick around for Flat Earth, or if you want to, what do you want to stick around for it? Because then I'll probably switch you out with Courtney and stay with Joe after this, and then we'll go from there. Oh, cool. That's a good idea. Yeah.
We get our shirts.
All right, cool. Yeah, type conspiracy in the comments for a chance to win a conspiracy shirt. Hashtag conspiracy in the comments, and then you get a chance for a T-shirt. We're going to have T-shirts again. We're going to have them probably next time around. We got some new people in the house, which is good. Oh, there he is.
The question is
lean into the mic. Go on, turn around.
Is the T-shirt giveaway a conspiracy?
It's a conspiracy shirt.
I know, but who's running it? That's the question.
No, we're running it. This was all your idea.
We're all good.
This was all your idea. So
it was my idea.
And the topic we're going to get into is the idea that you wanted to start talking about in the first place, which was flat Earth. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So, and this is the stuff that you've brought up a lot. You've talked about it. We've had people. We had another guy here. I don't know where he went. Tyler, this kid Tyler was here.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where
the young man.
Yeah, I don't know where he went. Yeah, he put himself on the list and he disappeared.
Yeah, we were just talking. He's got those the new glasses with the camera in it, and he showed me some of the footage that he was doing.
CJ?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is that? Yeah, CJ.
Oh, yeah, he's trying to go viral with his glasses.
Should be talking about salami. Go viral.
Right? Yeah, I know, right? That's true. So tell us a little bit about Flat Earth. We just talked about the conspiracy on the space shuttle blowing up and people are still alive. So what do you think?
People have a really hard time with this subject.
Well, that's why we're here.
So, I mean, for me is really how I can the only way I can really approach it. And, I thought it was, when I first heard the term, I thought it was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard in my life. I remember the day where I was, and I think I read it in a magazine. I'm like, flat Earth? Who could possibly think the Earth is flat? And, through a lot of other internal work and stuff that I was doing, I got a lot closer to my higher power and started reading the Bible and doing things of this nature. And I just started looking into it. And to my amazement, I basically couldn't stop. I realized that there was so much irrefutable proof that we don't live on a globe that it really made my head spin. And what my point of bringing that up is that, like, I was just like the people who can't speak to me about it now. Like, in other words, I thought it was one of the most ridiculous things I'd ever heard in my life also. So most people feel that way about flat Earth. So you're not alone. That's how I felt. That's how every flat earther I know felt when they started, and to the extent of, what's the shape of the Earth or whatever, I really can't say, exactly what I think, but what they've told us isn't what it is. You can use your own senses and, basically figure that out. What they're referring to with the space shuttle is because in the biblical cosmology, there's a firmament. And, in Genesis, God created the firmament, which is, in my opinion, sort of an electromagnetic barrier that keeps us safe, and we're not allowed to get through it. In the 50s, they tried to push through it with Operation Dominic, and they used I don't know if they were nuclear weapons. I think they were the beginnings of atomic weapons, but they tried to get through the firmament. Yeah. And the video footage is it's stunning. If you know what you're looking at. Yeah. There's a guy, Eric Dubay. I started to read stuff that
I see his stuff done. Pop up every once in a while on my feed. Yeah. And so I don't agree with everything Eric says, as far as philosophically and whatnot, because I believe in the biblical cosmology, and I'm not sure that he feels the same way. But as he goes through his facts, it's there's a video out there called 200 Proofs You're Not Living on the Globe. And I mean, like, I'll just give you one example. The canals in Amsterdam and Europe and whatnot. I mean, they're hundreds, thousands of miles, but there's been no allowance for curve. There's no sort of locks or anything that changes the level of the water. Yeah. Right. You speak about water and how on a globe model, I guess the water just sort of hangs on the side of the ball and underneath and just doesn't leave because of gravity or whatever. Yeah. But if you think about it, water seeks its level. Yeah. Right now, the newest thing that I think is out there and I think could change, at least get people interested enough to start looking, is the infrared photography that they have now. Yeah. Okay, so infrared gives you you can go look at the photos right now. You can see hundreds and hundreds of miles out. And normally we'd only be able to see 3 or 4 miles with the naked eye, but with these infrared images, you can see hundreds and hundreds of miles. The stuff that what I make reference to is what NASA and everybody has actually sold us, which means sort of the speed to which the Earth is spinning, how large the Earth is, and how many miles it spins on its axis, and and all the things that they've taught us. Well, you use that whole their own
words and you do the math, and it never works out.
Yeah.
It's impossible. So
is the Earth more like a combination of energy and
so yeah,
and,
Good question.
You know, like
it's
like in energy, you know how they in the movies they have like this vortex, or it's just energy, and you can go through it, and your body just kind of all pixelates and then comes
Right.
back. So you think that
Yeah.
the Earth can be something like that?
I believe it's a
Yeah.
torus field. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it's a torus field. It's essentially a big. So there's magnetism and electricity, and this is the electromagnetic spectrum, and those two forces is what guides everything. And so there's the model of the Earth that I subscribe to, and it's basically a torus field. If we had some imagery, I'd show you what I mean. And essentially, each one of us is a torus field, and every living thing is a torus field. It's just the energy that goes up and through, and then the existence where we're at is flat. People also have a hard time with, the idea of it being flat, and they think it's like sort of this flat disk sort of floating in space. Well, we've been so I guess brainwashed because of all the movies and space is like a thing, right? Everybody knows, oh yeah, there's outer space, right? Like it's preposterous to suggest that it's not there. But if you believe in the firmament, in the same sense, the two can't coexist. Okay. So God separated the waters from above from the waters below, and that's where we live. But when we speak about the model that I subscribe to, people are so ready to believe, infinite space. What we refer to is an infinite plane, basically. And what we have is our firmament and our sort of little area that we call Earth is sort of a little spot on that infinite plane. When we talk about aliens and things of that nature, there are other sort of little civilizations along the infinite plane. And
isn't everything in a space? So if space isn't there, it's hard to explain because this is here.
Yep.
But there's something around it. Even though we don't see it, it's still there.
It's all connected. It's all connected.
So to say that space isn't, because I think that's what you're saying, like space is not
infinite. I just mean a lot of people think that what the flat Earth means is like the same thing that you see a ball in outer space, which is they call the Earth. It's a little flat disk, and we're still floating, and then you're going to fall off the edge. Yeah. So that's not what we refer to at all in our model. So the equation that NASA and everybody taught us is basically the curvature is 8 inches of curvature per mile squared. Per square mile, you get 8 inches of curve. So basically you have a flat plane, and the flat plane curves at such a level, such an interim that it's 8 inches per mile squared. So if you do the math, you can't see more than 3 or 4 miles before the Earth starts to curve, and either it's out of your line of sight, or let's just say there's buildings there, right? And then, you're that much further away. Well, the buildings will sort of be around the other side of the curve. So some of the first photographs I've seen were images of the Chicago skyline from, 85 miles away or 95 miles away. And if you do their math, it's not I didn't come up with 8 inches per mile squared. I didn't come up, but it's a 24,000 mile circumference of the Earth, and they've done the math. So you shouldn't be able to see it. But the infrared photography.
You're the one who wrote down about flat Earth. I did. Okay. All right, you want to jump in? Sure, why not?
The infrared.
He's talking about it now.
Yeah.
Come over here. We're joined.
The infrared photography, you can see the Rocky Mountains,
Thank
basically
you,
from Pennsylvania.
Right here, buddy. No, right here. All right, we got a new guy in the house. All right. Hey, Tyler?
Am I good? Yes.
Yeah, you're good. Yep. All right, so your name's Tyler. Pull it up a little bit, Tyler.
Good.
There you go. So, Joseph, who helped start this whole thing with the Conspiracy Club 101. How'd you find out about us?
I did not know about you guys. I only know about this bar. I've been here a few times.
Okay.
So I just walked in and saw you guys.
Oh, there you go.
I figured,
All
why
right.
not?
All right,
Sit
cool.
down.
All right.
Yeah.
So Joe was just talking about flat Earth. So you wrote that on the list that you are interested in discussing flat Earth.
Yes.
So give us your perspective. He was given the whole dynamics of how many inches, what per square?
It's 8 inches per mile squared.
8 inches per mile squared for the
curvature.
For the curvature
rate.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So I
Well,
only
it's,
know.
it's
sorry, go ahead.
incorrect. That's what they're selling us, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's not correct. Yeah.
Oh, so what's your guys' belief on it? By the way, I just want to.
Well, I mean,
What do you
I mean, I'm on both ends of the stick. I mean, I think that there's a good possibility that it is a flat plane that's infinite
Plane,
space,
yeah.
or a realm.
Yes.
But at the same time, it could be a ball still, and it could be bigger than they're telling us, and so it looks like it's flat because we're only on a certain smaller part of the ball. So that there's other land
keeping,
anywhere
so
else.
they're keeping the other continents and whatnot. from it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So it's a
like
lot bigger.
outside
Right.
of the ice wall.
Exactly.
If you believe that.
If you believe that.
There's
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are basically on the same page.
No. That's how he. That's
how.
what.
Yeah.
So you don't.
Yeah. No, I know it's flat.
You know
he
it's
knows
flat.
he knows it's flat. I
Okay.
think it might be bigger than they're telling us.
Okay.
And
It's
so-
definitely bigger than
Yeah.
what they're telling us.
So
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so it seems like we're kind of all on the same
Close,
page.
yeah.
Yeah. Because I try to get into like if they really want to get into it like scientifically, yeah. But I just kind of go off like the first few parts in Genesis and like what I just
There you
use
go.
in like my common sense, right? There's nothing. I've seen water go on a ball, and you can't really make
can't.
water stick to a ball.
Exactly.
And from my human perspective, it doesn't really seem like we're moving
And-
really fast. So
Right.
simple as that.
And when,
Nice.
when you see the sun sort of coming up and rising, it's sort of getting closer to you if you really think about it on the flat Earth perspective, as opposed to thinking that it's coming up from behind the ball. It's actually coming around. That the sun and the moon are small and local in
Yes.
in the flat Earth model,
Yeah,
and
and-
as opposed to that being 93 million miles away. You can see, and people have reasons why this happens, but if you see through the clouds and how the sunlight comes through the clouds, you can pretty much do the math, and it'll tell you how far away the distance is based on the angle of the sun's rays. Now, people say that it's the atmosphere and it's refraction and whatnot, but in reality, that's an electromagnetic spectrum. You can tell where the light source is, and stuff like that is like observable every day, right? When you see a rainbow, okay, people don't pay any attention to this for some reason. But we were talking about the firmament earlier, that if the rainbow is here this way, you can see it. But if you ever see a double rainbow, it's mirrored, as if to say, if it starts with red and goes to green and yellow or whatever, well, the other way, it goes the colors go the opposite direction, just like if there was a mirror, which is what we refer to as the firmament and the energy bouncing off the firmament. It's literally a mirror. The rainbow is right there. If we had a little hose here and the right lighting, the rainbow is here everywhere. We would just spray up the hose. That's why if you play with your garden hose, whatever you're doing out there, sometimes you'll it's just a screen. It's just a screen, correct? And so some of those kinds of things really interested me right off, and it's amazing how nobody wants to ever even talk about it. I mean, isn't that fun? Like, let's make a rainbow and let's try to understand, what we're looking at here. What is it that we're looking at?
Right.
When you see the flat Earth model and you see that sun sort of coming at you like on a sunrise, you're like, oh my gosh, they have the imagery where they track it, the same photograph in the same place every year, and the sun moves around. It moves, and the pattern is sort of like an infinity sign. I have an infinity tattoo here with my wife's initial on it. And so there you have it. You can see the motion of the sun, one photo per year, and how it moves on its little course. And you look at the flat Earth model, especially from the top, you can see that same design, just exactly how it moves. It gets closer in the summer months to where we are in the north, and then it moves on its axis below the equator, and it sort of moves in and out and up and down, but it goes around us on that flat plane, as does the moon. Some people tell me all the time, they say, I say, look at the moon, and it's really bright, and it illuminates my whole backyard. I don't have any lights in my backyard, and sometimes it looks like there's a spotlight on out there. And there's no sun to be seen, but apparently that's the reflection of the sun, and it's not giving us off its own light. Of course it is. But you can't tell people that. They want to put you in a loony bin. You know what I mean? So they want, but to me, it's like, if you see the images of the moon, and you say, and you see the film from when the astronauts were supposedly up there, that doesn't look like reflective material, does it? It looks like sand to me. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, I work on a few lawnmowers, and I don't know any equipment that can like kind of swing around at like 1,000 times miles around a few rocks and
Right.
kind of like, not get any maintenance on. I know that the people that like to talk about this, I don't know, they've had to at least work on a few things, and even something like that should make you wonder. I mean,
Right, the moon landings themselves. Okay, if you just start looking into that and the way that you can see the outside sources of light where they had it's on a movie set. I mean, it's clear as day. And again, that's not saying that the Earth is flat, but why do they need to lie about all this different stuff? I mean, why can't they just give it to us straight? Oh, they're not lying. Well, there's images of the Earth over the years and from different space agencies, Chinese, Japanese, some others, and the big blue marble photo, which is probably on everybody's iPhone when you first open it up.
Yep.
Okay, it's one of the most famous photographs of all time.
Yep.
And it's called the Big Blue Marble. It was taken in the mid-'70s, okay? And over the course of, 10 or 15 years, a lot of other agencies took pictures of the Earth. And the continents are different sizes. They're completely different colors. Some of the cloud patterns on the Big Blue Marble photograph, the cloud patterns are exactly the same. It's a fake photograph. So it has to be a fake photograph.
this
because
photo was just taken by NASA 13
Exactly.
minutes ago.
we ask people all the time. They say, how come we can't get a live, sort of like a live stream like we're doing now, a live footage from something that you guys supposedly have up in space, and watching and looking at the Earth spinning. You've seen all stuff like that. There's stuff like that all over the internet and all over the NASA footage, but you can't tell that apart from green screen. There's nobody that can tell that apart. They just don't seem to ever get far enough away that you can get the whole thing in the picture for some reason.
Right.
And there's millions of questions just like that. But all I tell people a lot of the times, if they want to have this conversation, is just look. I'm not asking you to change your mind about anything. I'm asking you to open your mind. Right.
Yeah,
so if you're scared to even look, then don't look. Okay. But I looked, and most of the people I know that look, and they look with an open mind, they start to understand that we've been lied to on such a grand scale. And I haven't met anybody that's come back from that. In other words, once you look and you see, you're not going to not see it anymore.
See, I think
the only people that don't.
Yeah, well, and I think it's not even the fact that we've been lied to. The truth has always been there. So that's why I try to tell people too. It's like it's a lie, but it's really not a lie because we've always consented to the lie. So it's really the truth in plain
that's how
sight.
the devil, right? So that's how evil works.
So let me ask
They
you,
have to give us free
how
will.
long have you guys been on? When did you discover that the Earth is flat? When did you?
For me, it's been about 11 years.
11 years.
Yeah.
Did you? Or no? You're like when did you think? When did you think that they started to lie to you about other things?
I think because I kind of was not on the program with the whole the moon landing. So I've always
Were you from that from the beginning, or
because they went to the moon when I was born, and now here I'm 57 years old and we haven't been back. So I was always questioning that from day one.
So just on a quick because I'm sure you guys this conspiracy show.
Yeah.
What from your guys' generation is some of you are obviously they're lying to us, and then there's other people that are like, what are you talking about? Of course we went to the moon. What is it about? Because my generation is kind of most of them are kind of aware that the government's kind of full of shit.
Are they? How old are you?
Yeah,
23.
23. Oh wow.
So
Okay.
so
Nice.
your generation is aware that the government's full of shit.
Yeah, because there's
are there more flat earthers in your generation than
I
there
don't
is?
think so.
Because that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing
interesting.
45%. I'm hearing 45%.
At least definitely thinking about it for sure,
Yeah.
more than I think.
So
Because the information's out there. That's why.
And remember what I was telling you when we first met? How I feel the flat Earth, sort of issue, but if you want to, for lack of a better
You think
word,
it's like the whole?
I think it's the thing that's holding everything together, the whole lie. Because once that domino falls, there's not going to be anything safe.
Like what? You think just everything that?
Once people realize they lied to us at this level. At the level of the flat Earth, at that point, they're not going to. You can't believe anything else
because it's
you can't.
because it's
now.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
you're good.
is it a pride thing for your like older
Well, it's an
people?
ego thing. It's an ego thing. Yeah, because
if they're like,
because remember, the older people are more indoctrinated. They're the ones that watch TV and saw the moon landing.
Right.
I saw it on TV with my own eyes. Nixon, they called Nixon from the, so they believe it because of that.
I lose you when I go in a metal box or when I go under a
exactly.
He called me from the moon.
Called him no problem. It was no big deal.
So there's a thing. There's a thing called the teachability index. Okay. And somebody I follow, it's got nothing to do with flat Earth or anything, but the success sort of methodology. And the teachability index is a ratio to which whether or not you're teachable. A lot of people think that they're teachable, but those old folks, and myself included, a lot of stuff I can't be taught anymore, right? As opposed to when you're young, you really want to learn stuff, right? So you're more teachable when you're young, because when you're like an older guy and successful, you can't tell them anything. So fortunately for me, I was able. I'm in a program, and I was able to tear myself completely down to the bare bones and sort of start over, like 15 years ago, and rethink everything. And so all of a sudden I was free to actually explore some of these things. But when I was a kid, I knew something. When I was a kid, I knew something was off. I always knew something was off. And then if you look at everyday life that we get used to now, there's just lies and corruption and just, it just goes on and on. We have topics here that go, run the gamut of stuff. But I feel that the flat Earth is above it all because the idea is it starts there. It starts there. So that's what he does. He just spills one lie after the other, till at one point or another, you have to start believing the lies in order to exist. And it's certainly to be successful and exist. If I was the CEO of some big company and I'm coming on a podcast about flat Earth, I'd probably get written up or fired the next day. And what am I trying to do? I'm not trying to cause a riot or anything. I'm just saying that for me, it became something that was easy for me to start to swallow, got me close to a higher power, made me understand more about who I am and where we come from, and made me much more at peace, to be honest. Because once you know that, there's a creator there and he's right above us, and it makes it a bit easier to do better things, or at least be accountable,
I agree.
And I think that that's one of the major reasons why they wouldn't want us to know. They want to discredit anything that's empowering to people. What's more empowering than finding your higher power and understanding that, he's here for you and he's made you special. He's protected you, your whole life. But, you have to give the evil has to have its opportunity. God gives us free will, so people choose that, and you know. But most of the people that don't want to look into this is because they're vibrating at a very low frequency. They're in fear. They want to talk about politics. They want to talk about all kinds of other nonsense and fight with people and whatnot. I'm not trying to fight with anybody, but I do encourage you look it up. You know, I can give you some resources where you can go and
Just
start
the frequency
looking.
thing, because I've only heard a little bit about that.
Yeah.
That
So
intrigues me. So
what was that?
that frequency thing that you
Yeah.
just did, like I kind of want to get into that a little
So
bit more.
so you have your phone right there.
I do. It's
So
about to
just
die.
just Google. Okay, I
I'll
can show
try to
you mine.
remember.
So
Yeah, it's actually already
what
nice.
we're talking about is the emotional frequency chart, basically.
Emotional frequency chart.
Right. So it's really more of a vibrational chart.
And start there. I'll just start there.
So
Emotional.
is real. So if you're at fear, you're at 100. Let's just say, for argument's sake, you were in a bad mood. You're scared that you're going to lose your job, right? And you came in here and you want to have a few drinks and you want to try to forget it, whatever. And you're kind of still in fear. You're having a little bit better time. You're in desire. Maybe you're pissed off. You're in anger. These are all 100, 125, 150. But if you decide that you've recognized you're in fear, you're recognizing you're in low vibration, you feel it, and you just decide that you don't want to be there anymore. You don't know what you're going to do, but you just decide, hey, I'm going to do something to make me feel better about this. And I'm not talking about getting wasted and
Right.
that kind of feeling better. I'm talking about a real change emotionally. Right up at that point, you're up to willingness. If you're at fear, you're at a 100 vibration. Willingness is a 310 vibration. You triple your vibration, and you didn't even do anything yet. All you did was decide to do something. You know what I mean? And right off the bat, if you think about your life, when I applied this kind of stuff to my life, I said to myself, well, was I willing at that time when I was really angry? Was I willing to hear the other side of the story? No, I wasn't. So I stayed angry. Was I willing to pray for somebody who did me wrong? No, I was not willing to do that. I stayed at anger. Once I became willing, right, to do something that sort of didn't even make sense to me, but that was something different. We can't have change in the world by doing the same things. Are we willing to do something different to create change? And That's why I feel that people don't really get taught about this kind of stuff, but you can make reference to your own life.
And what was that called again? So I can put it in the.
You can put it up. It's just search a vibration chart. Frequency chart.
Okay, I'll have to. After the show, I will.
Anybody could just Google it for an image, and it's a real simple. It's really simple. I used to vibrate at anger, pride, those vibrations. I still do, but when I do get to that point now, I can recognize it a lot easier. And all I have to do is jump up to willingness, man. It's not that hard to do. I just become willing. First, I have to identify that I'm in a bad mood or I'm angry, right? But now I think about this chart, I'm like, you know what? I'm just willing to do anything to get out of this mood. Okay.
What do you think about toxic positivity? Like,
toxic positivity.
Is that a thing? Do you think that's
I've heard that term, but I haven't really seen it played out in real life. What
I don't know. Like? I guess like you've met. Yeah, I think you've. Just those people that just like seem like, or just in general, like if you think you're putting on a face when you're not. Maybe that's just another term for not truly dealing with problems.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Just
I think I think I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I was just piggybacking.
I think I see what you're saying. I think that exists, but the person that's doing that is vibrating at fear.
Right.
So you can't. So that's the thing about it.
Okay.
Somebody might pick you up as vibrating at willingness or vibrating at acceptance. Some people will tell you, oh yeah, that's fine, and I've accepted that about you. And in reality, they're still really pissed off. They're just hiding it really well.
Right.
And again, that's what the world is right now. Everybody has masks on.
Yeah.
Nobody's authentic. Everybody has to be a certain way, to have a certain job, and to be this certain person in the community. And you're not willing to ask the important questions. A lot of people sit in the driver's seat and they say, I'm going to judge this, and this is what happened, and that's incorrect, and this political figure is wrong, and all those kinds of things. But are any of those people willing to try something they've never tried before?
Yeah.
Are you willing to do something you've never done before? Come to a meeting like this. You've never done it before. I can guarantee you that your vibrations will be raised. Why? Not because we're going to agree on the subject matter, but because we have an arena that we can talk logically about it without having to scream and call each other names. And that's a very rare thing in today's world.
Yeah.
And even just saying that, how many dinner parties, how many places you could go that you could even bring up some of these subjects? Right away it turns political, and it goes right down to anger and fear, and it ruins the whole party. We're trained to do it, but...
Yeah. All right, guys, I don't mean to cut you off because it's a really good conversation, and it sounds like something you can do a whole show on.
Oh,
yeah. John and I did a show about it.
Yeah, I've seen you on
stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I encourage people just to look it up. Just Google the frequency chart, and and any other flat Earth stuff. Honestly, it starts from Genesis, and it leads us right to today. It's really right there for the taking.
Definitely a deep rabbit hole, both the flat Earth stuff and all that. But I want to take this time before we transition on to the next subject that. You'll see in the top corner of our stream a little QR code. Rumble is now letting us accept crypto as tips. You can tip us in Bitcoin. I think there's like XRP, not XRP, like Tether Gold, stuff like that. I don't know. But we put it up there. That's our Rumble wallet. You can tip this show, and all of our other shows also have a Rumble wallet you can tip. Be sure to check that out. Check us out at IndianRiverConnections.com. where you can find all of our other shows like TGI Now, The Binford Chronicles, The Board Report, and To The Point Podcast. We stream live on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. TGI Now is streaming on Tuesdays in the 8 o'clock hour. Binford Chronicles is usually on a Thursday. I know she went this past Wednesday with Tess Toman from Club America. We try to get a lot of good guests on. Our local show, The Board Report, sorry, let me transition this. Our local show, The Board Report, tackles issues, stuff going on at the school board, at city council, stuff like that. And we feel like that's something we should encourage more counties and other areas to do the same thing. Hold these local boards accountable. So you can find that stuff on The Board Report at IndianRiverConnections.com. And we're on all the platforms, right, John? John, I was just telling the people about that QR code right there
Oh yeah,
is where they
Nice.
could tip the conspiracy club in Bitcoin, Tether, or Tether Gold.
Okay.
It's new. If you're on Rumble, you can Rumble Ramp, I think is what it's called, where it's like tip us like $5, and then your post will stay up there for so long. Or you can gift subscriptions. That's one way to help and support us. If you're not watching on Rumble and you do hold some crypto, check out that QR code and send us a couple dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, Tether Gold right now is tied to the price of gold.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, and you can send $10.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you send the Conspiracy Club
Send us some silver too.
$10 in Tether Gold right now, in a month it could be worth $12.
Yeah. Oh,
Gold's going up. So,
Oh yeah. No.
and that stuff goes a long way. I mean, it does pay for what you see here, a lot of our equipment, and we all have children with futures, so
Right. Yeah.
hook us up with a little tip.
Right.
Well, we're live from Filthy's in Vero Beach, Florida. They're getting ready to gear up some karaoke, but
People getting worked up for karaoke. They're getting itchy.
Yep. Who's your next guest, John?
I'm working on getting Kyle Zeminski in here in Vero Beach.
Oh, good.
He's like a local.
I actually talked to him at Sam's Club the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs some help with his family. I guess he lost his wallet or something too. So I was going to reach out to help him, but I want to bring him on the show and see how he's doing.
Yeah.
And then I have a couple other guests that I'm working on now. So we're gonna wrap it up. We have to wrap it up.
We have to wrap it up. Okay.
Well, what time is it?
It is 8:20.
Oh no, we got time.
Let's get George Cologne in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really want to get Kelly ready to talk about her podcast coming up.
I don't think she is. Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to get Courtney on too, but she's too busy making pizza. I think.
Yeah, it looks like she's working kitchen duty right now.
Yeah, so she's a little bit. There's George. Come on, George.
Let's bring George on.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing, gentlemen?
Pull it up a little closer to you.
There we go, George.
There you go.
There you go.
Good to see you both again.
You too, buddy.
Yeah, it wasn't. What was it? A week or two since the board report. We have you on the board report quite regularly, and always good content. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming. So what's big going on that you got? So you might as well break it here, even though it's a conspiracy show. You might as well break it out.
So what we're doing now, I decided this year that we just have to elevate the data with my hope is with federal agents.
Okay.
As you know, the sober home situation, that's my angle.
Yep.
Though some are sincere in what they want to do, there are some, in my observation, that are exploiting those who maybe want to get better.
Yep.
And we went from 218, about 5 to 6 sober homes, to right now almost approximately 25 to 30 in 6-7 years. And I went to the county commissioners board there where they have requirements for the sober homes. Half of them don't even know what they are.
Of course not.
So I'm like, so how do you know if these places are safe?
Yep.
How do you know if they're meeting whatever requirements that have been asked,
Right.
And it's very disconcerting to hear that none of them know very little, if any.
Yeah.
children raising children.
100%.
And so these law enforcement that have to deal with this, they're dealing with adults who, you know, and I
Acting
get
like
it.
children. Yeah.
Acting like children.
Absolutely.
They suffer from infantile syndrome.
Yeah.
And that means that if somebody says, don't do this, it's not appropriate, I go, I have rights. I have rights. And that's how they deal with it.
Yeah.
So that girl, that it was sad what happened to her.
Yeah.
But I tell you, if somebody is coming at me with their vehicle, I'm going to unload my clip.
Yeah.
It's not personal. I want to live, and if you want to die, then
that's it. Yeah, 100%.
You know.
And so, and so, Joe talks about this a lot too. And this is a good way to round things up. Is like we're talking about the situation in Minnesota and the ice and all that, but what it really does is it brings your frequency down.
Yeah.
Like it's harvesting loose energy because they're yelling at the ice agent, shame, 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 and so there's like this loose energy that's being harvested with these events.
Correct.
Yeah.
I only saw a couple of videos because you really can't even avoid seeing it. And one of the first things I noticed was one bystander lady, basically demeaning the officer, not the officer that shot, but another one of the officers, and and it was like calling him out, and so it was obvious that she was in anger, and a really low vibration, and that vibration spread. So obviously it's a bad situation where the car was coming at the guy and he shot and whatever.
Yeah.
But the frequency of that whole event could have been measured. If you ask me, I can guarantee you that it was like really at the low frequencies where you live in fear, which is where they want to keep us.
Yeah.
And anybody that is even in that arena, maybe before this happened, if anybody would become willing to what? Willing to put the anger aside for a minute, willing to understand that there's other point of views, willing to not get violent, willing to do things differently than what you've done before. Because it seems to me like everything is the same happening over and over and over again, right? Like nobody's willing to change the game, right? So you have no willingness. But if you did have a willingness, you didn't have to do sort of anything yet, but just became willing. Like, let's call a meeting. Let's be willing to call a meeting.
Yeah.
From fear, you go right up the vibrational scale to 310 from 100. You triple your vibration, just becoming willing. The next step up from willingness is acceptance, okay? So at that point, you're at acceptance. Acceptance of what? Acceptance that I don't like this president, or acceptance this immigration thing. I'm not happy about that, but I have to accept it for right now. I'm not going to, go out there and be in fear and diminish people because, and who's better than who and whatever. So if you think about it, the powers that be, they would want us to be all in fear, you understand, and all separate, whatever. Because if you can join and create a safe space for conversations, just like this event is really what this became, because we didn't have a safe space to even talk about this without having fights with people, because everybody gets into political conversations. But I'm just talking about being willing to accept somebody else's, and everybody says that they are, but really doesn't happen. And what I've noticed about the short time I've watched any video on this tragic event that happened, that was one of the first things I noticed. Yeah. And so the fact that I think, the fact that we talk about stuff like this, I'm much more aware of my own vibration, and thusly I can pin it out in others and not want to integrate with that
100%.
Because there's a bad risk that once you integrate with a low energy, it's a good chance you're going to go right down there with them. Yeah. It's very, very difficult to bring a group of people out. So your best way to do it is to kind of exit, right?
Yeah.
And I wish that lady or whatever that was driving, maybe she was trying to exit. I don't know what happened. Okay. Yeah. All I know is that I can guarantee you there was a lot of fear, anger, grief, a lot of apathy, a lot of the lowest vibrations measurable happening all at once.
Yeah.
And people say, well, we have reason to be this way. I have such an important reason to be at this low vibration. No, you don't. There's no reason in the world why you can't raise your vibration. The only reason why you wouldn't do it is because you don't realize it's happening to you.
Yeah.
And
you're just so used to being in that low vibe that you can't understand that the world would be a different place.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And also they everything is a choice.
Yeah, that's it. Free will choice.
Willingness,
or unwillingness.
Yeah.
So if
Right?
I want to live in fear, if I want to live in confrontation with people,
Right.
then I'll get that.
Yeah.
Right.
But if
You're going to
like,
get it right back.
you're
Exactly.
going to get it right back.
Exactly.
But if we don't learn how to diffuse, how to take care of our peace,
Yep.
how to agree, to disagree,
That, my friend, is the answer right there. That willingness
Yeah.
alone. That
Good.
willingness alone, okay? And people say it. They write T-shirts about it, live and let live, that kind of thing. But that's not what's happening here.
No.
That's certainly not what happened on the street where that woman got killed.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that that's not what happened, okay? So we're all pretty much aware that none of this stuff is working. Who's willing to try and change it for real?
Yeah.
And, I invite those people to come here. You want to do something different? Come to one of our meetings,
Yeah.
right, John?
Yeah.
It's not about politics. It's not about anything. We're talking about how people feel and how that interacts with the
How it
others
affects-
around
yeah,
you.
How it affects everybody
How
else.
it affects
yeah.
everybody else. And then John talks about them harnessing that energy, whatever. I know that they use it for their benefit, the corporate entities and such that they are. Like, to me, they don't come from a place of light; they come from a place of darkness.
Yeah.
Okay, it's clear to me.
Yeah.
This greed, this insatiable greed, it doesn't come from a place of light. They're running our lives, people. Want to do something different? Be willing. Come down here, have a talk about us. Maybe I'll talk to you about flat Earth, and I don't talk to anybody about it, right? Because everybody gets all kinds of upset. All right, but you know what? I can talk about the fact that I can't talk about it, right? I can't go to a dinner party and talk about what, but we could talk about this and the ice age and all that kind of. Everybody talks about that stuff.
Yeah.
Why is flat Earth so? Why? Well, I'm not suggesting that there's an answer to that question. I'm suggesting that it's a fact that these conversations don't happen on the norm.
Yeah.
So you want to know what willingness is? Be willing to come down to our next meeting here.
Yeah.
At any viewpoint, you don't have to be afraid. And come down here and start talking about some of the stuff that's affecting all of us.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you'll feel better when you leave.
So you guys have seen, because you've done this before, and
Yep.
I've seen it. In my travels from Washington D.C. here, and I'm starting to stretch out more. If people are not willing to have the dialogue,
Correct.
and let's put prejudice aside.
They can't.
Let's just put it aside, let's talk as humans.
Right.
That's not something that usually happens anymore.
It doesn't.
Because they want to be right. I got to be right, John. I got to be
That's
right,
why
John.
that's
I gotta
what
be right.
we end up in the same place, though. Nowhere.
Nowhere.
You see? So that's what I'm saying. You're willing to make a difference this time. Instead of going up that same dark alley to that same brick wall. You and I know what that is about. You and I work a program that's separate from this, but I know that you know what I'm talking about. And I went down that same alley expecting different results for the better part of my life.
And
I
another
don't
thing
do it anymore.
Well, because if we're not willing to learn from one another,
Right. Take suggestions.
And what we live in today is my goal has been let's educate community on the fentanyl awareness, opiate, just awareness.
Right.
I don't want to make their decision.
No.
Yeah.
But at least let them be
Exactly.
informed.
Exactly.
But if they suppress them from being informed, how is that helping them?
Yeah,
It's keeping us at a low vibration. That's why the suppression is there. Once we start raising our collective vibration, none of that stuff will be there anymore because there won't be any time for it. Okay? One thing about vibration, it's going to catch on. Either you're going to go down to the fear or you're going to come up. Okay? And that's it. If you're feeling low, come on up. It feels better up here.
Yes.
It really does.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
No, for sure. And my hope is that would happen, and maybe with some assistance from somehow. I don't know how.
Well,
but we need that in Vero because
it's happening.
You
It's
know?
happening little by slowly, maybe not fast enough. We might not see it. John and I have spoken about it a lot of times, and we might not even see it in our lifetime. We hope to.
Yeah.
But what I've seen so far is, if you would have asked me 10 years ago that all this stuff was going on, and we would be talking about it this freely on podcasts and whatnot, I would have said you're crazy. There's no way. But here we are, so we're further along than I thought we'd be. You know what I mean?
And we got to keep going.
One thing,
keep going.
yeah. And everybody used that term vibe. They vibe, but it became like a slang, okay? But it's real. It's about how you're vibrating, okay? You ever see a spinning top that's vibrating really fast? Once you're vibrating fast, you bounce off of stuff. Nothing bothers you. But if you're vibrating slow, everything that comes along knocks you over.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's just raise your vibe, man.
Yeah. So let's see what we can do in the future and try and see how we can bring community together to see if they would be even open
conversations,
to
right? Like you said, conversations, safe space. You know, you have to have boundaries based on sort of stuff that they've designed these canon terms and these conversation ending things, right? Whereas what political party you're with or whatever, all these kinds of things. Now the separation, the line is drawn in the sand. I mean, it's not even in the sand anymore. It's clear as day.
Yeah.
Everybody sees the line. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Okay. And if you like it like that, well, then you're not willing to do anything different, right? But if you are willing to do something different, you'll feel better immediately. You didn't even do anything yet. You're just willing. Just willing to say, hey, look, I'm tired of this line in the middle. We're better than this. We're all human beings. You know what? When a disaster happens, like after 9/11 or whatever, when everybody, how they act after that, when the real humans come out, that's what the powers that be are scared of. Because they know that we have love in our hearts. They know that I know that I was made in the light of my Creator, and how flawed we are on the whole, how flawed I am on the whole. This type of awareness is essential in what we talk about, right? I mean, keeping an inventory. How much of an asshole was I today? Oh man, you were a fucking asshole today, buddy. You know what I mean? But I can say that less now because I'm in tune with what I'm at. Right? Be willing. That's the key.
Yeah.
They need to come down here and talk to us, right, Tom?
What's that?
They need to be willing to come down and talk with us.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah, you got people to show up.
We've got this beautiful facility. I mean, it's right here in town.
I'm trying to get Courtney over here to get on the show. Can you grab her?
So, anybody that's out there listening, honestly, this is not to entice somebody in to have an argument. Really, it isn't. But, I'd like to see people, maybe open their minds a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that would mean putting down the boundaries and maybe coming together with somebody who doesn't agree with everything you say, but we do have one common denominator. We care about each other. We care about how we're all living and our children, and we have the same values in a lot of ways. Yeah. We don't have to, agree on everything. Exactly. But we should agree to at least understand that we're all on the same side.
Yeah.
When it comes to this.
Well, for sure. And
fentanyl, for instance. I mean, who's on the, where are the guys that are going to defend the fentanyl, right? But yet there it is, and it's everywhere, right? So of course there's somebody on the fentanyl side defending it. How else do you explain its existence? But they don't want to talk about that either, because now it becomes who you're blaming and what political thing and what sheriff and the conversations just end
because many of them are sadly not as informed or don't have haven't done their due diligence and research. And then what happens is when you suppress people from knowing information that they can make a choice, inventory, they could make a different choice.
Correct.
Right? They're willing to do something different.
Not only is it okay, it's a requirement to do it. Once you start doing that, there you go. Being willing to do that. You never did it before. Hey, this might be the answer.
Right.
But you know what? What you've tried a million times, that hasn't worked. That's not the answer.
Right. And so what happens even in communities like this, and I've been here 45 years, when they want to suppress the people from learning and growing and being able to have that choice to willing to grow, they might not like the information, but go back to, you're saying they're limiting the choices, they're limiting, right? And they're keeping us in that low. There's no other, actually, you know what? There might be another explanation. I haven't heard it. And if this doesn't make sense, then what does? It's factual, okay? Yeah. It's factual. You can read people's sort of where they're at, a whole group of people hating, or like sometimes they do the protests on 60 over there, and the people on the same side are all, I guess, having a good time. But if one person comes with a different opinion, it's like name calling and just all kinds of you don't see like nice conversations being had at all. Yeah.
And so like, why not? I mean, what's the problem? You're not going to change anything today. You're not going to change anybody's mind. Why don't you just have a reasonable conversation?
Fear is very debilitating. And the fact that people are not able, like you just said, to have a conversation, agree to disagree respectfully. When fear controls a person, they act out. And that's what happens. And then it limits the people from being able to have an adult healthy conversation.
Right. And that's, I think that's where we're at in a lot of ways. That's why these conversations are not being had.
No.
And, like two amoeba in a petri dish, if they're vibrating the same, they're going to join up. And if they're vibrating different, they're going to bounce off each other. We're getting a lot of bouncing off now,
Even
And,
here,
there's no real reason for it.
No.
All right? We all love our kids. We all want, healthier food to eat. We all don't want to be poisoned. It doesn't have to be about who taught that to me. It doesn't have to be a political affiliation just because of maybe one of the issues I agree with somebody and I don't agree with this person. You don't put me in a box. I'm a human being. Okay, I'll respect you. You respect me. I'm willing to respect what you have to say as long as you say it in a way that doesn't, non-antagonistic, and let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
And if not, then that's fine. And that's what I said. You just go that way. These conversations are not being had, so we're becoming each other's enemies.
So what I observed in Indian River County, and then I think they're going thinking about. So what I have learned when we focus on national issues and we can't take care of our own home, what am I doing?
Right.
When I'm worried about the world and my house is in disorder, that's what's happening in Vero.
So just that alone, just that concept alone is not going to be welcome in most places. The concept. Forget about getting into it. Not even getting into it. Just being willing to talk about that. They're not willing, right? They're not willing.
No.
So are we dead in the water? Does that mean it's over? No, because what we are responsible for is our own. But as long as you don't dive into that, then you keep it. It doesn't matter if there's nobody there. Keep your vibe high. By example, just like we talk about in our other thing, how somebody has something that you want, somebody has a piece, or somebody has a sort of life that you want, no drama, that kind of thing, which is what was very appealing to me when I started to meet some new people. And I said to myself, wow, I never had that before. How do I do that? I had to be willing to be completely honest,
Absolutely.
right, with myself, right? And if I had that willingness to be completely honest, I was told great things were going to happen, and I'll be damned if it didn't, because I tell you what, and I would love to tell everybody about it, right? Because it's the way. It's the way to do it.
All right, guys, we're going to have to wrap it up with karaoke starting to...
Oh, is that what that is?
He keeps turning the music up. Well, he's supposed to be starting at 8, I guess, because I didn't know it changed to 8 from 9.
Oh, it's at 8? No.
Yeah. No, you better talk to Nick about that.
Okay, I will. Guys, thanks again for doing this. You guys are awesome.
Thanks for coming down, big guy.
The visuals look so great.
Thank you so much. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming down. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
we'll be
man.
back again.
Come back again, all right?
We'll be back.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll be back again every second Thursday of the month,
We're
down here at
we're
Filthy's.
inviting people.
Maybe, I don't know. It might be from 5 to 7, but
We're inviting people. We'll tell you the time. It's going to be the second Thursday of the month.
yeah,
Please come down.
6 to 9, we thought, but
Join in with the conversation. You don't have to be on the podcast. There's
You don't
plenty
have
of
to sing. You
conversations
don't have to
happening
get up
in the
and
room.
sing.
No,
Oh,
I can't sing.
You
No.
can't sing?
I can't
I
sing.
bet you can dance, though.
Yeah, a little bit.
there's a lot of people want to sing tonight, apparently. So
Yeah,
they're looking at us like we're holding
we
them
better
up.
let them sing, John.
Yeah, let's let them sing with
Let them sing.
with the purple hair.
John,
Yeah, all right.
God bless you guys.
All right, guys,
God bless
appreciate
you.
it. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank
and
you so
tune in
much.
to TGI Now,
Thank you.
IRC Media, Bid for Chronicles, and To The Point Podcast.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
guys.
Thank
All
you.
right, bye.
Okay, bye.
I do. This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds. It was founded on the principle that all men are created equal, and that the rights of every man are diminished, and the rights of one man are threatened.